Already? Yep. Yep. I'm going to crack off this review with two statements that are very contradictory, that aren't going to make any sense, might even piss the people off. But here we go. Two things. First, this album, Hurry Up Tomorrow by The Weeknd, is brilliant. Second, I'll probably never listen to it in its entirety again. How does that work? Well, let's get into it. Yesterday afternoon, so it's Saturday morning, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I gotta be kind of quiet because my wife is still sleeping. I've been geeking out over this album for like the last 2 hours. But yesterday afternoon, doing my YouTube edits, I gotta edit the reaction. I gotta cut music out before I post on YouTube, otherwise it gets blocked. I hate it. I hate cutting music. It kills my soul. That's why my videos are so long. It's because I hate cutting music. That's why a lot of my videos get blocked. Anyway, I straight up interstellar memed myself in this chair as I watch myself just go through this 12-second interlude, track 3 of I Can't Fucking Sing, and go, well, that's weird. I wonder what he's talking about. And then I never click the annotation. I straight up sat here yesterday afternoon and just went, oh my God, I can't believe right? Because I go through the whole album with no awareness that the guy literally lost his voice 3 tracks into a concert and had to cancel the show and all this stuff until track 21 of 22, where finally I actually clicked the annotation and learned this very important fact, right? Very important. But I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I essentially didn't have that information because it made me realize this morning when I did my second listen, I've only done 2 listens, and I've always known this, but it was never on my mind. It's not something I thought I needed to consider. I'm a casual fan of The Weeknd. I like The Weeknd. I like his music. I have favorite songs. I don't really listen to full albums. It's pretty rare. I never listen to a trilogy top to bottom ever. Bounce around between my favorite songs. I'll listen to 4, 5, 6 songs, some of my favorites, and then that's it. I get my fill and I move on. I'm a casual fan. And why this album is brilliant is because this album has in my opinion, a very high level of awareness of who is going to be listening. The Weeknd, he's smart. He's very smart. I mean, he's good at what he does, but he is smart in that he knows he's essentially got 2 fan bases, right? He knows he's got casual fans and he's got hardcore fans. And I'm messing with my windows over here and I'm doing it wrong. The front end of the album, like when a new album by The Weeknd comes out, what am I hoping for as a casual fan? I'm hoping for 12, 13 songs, 45 to 50 minute runtime. And out of those songs, I'm hoping for 4 or 5 bangers that I'm going to love, obsess over, throw into playlists, and that's it, right? That's what I'm expecting as a casual fan. This album gives me that. The front half of the album, in my opinion, is essentially structured for the casual fans, the ones that are ready to just hear some cool pop bangers. You want to hear a great beat that kind of reminds you of Thriller? Here's the opening track, Wake Me Up. Cry For Me is awesome. Sao Paulo is great. The transition from Baptized into Fear into Open Hearts is fucking legendary as far as I'm concerned. Like, here you go, casual fans. Eat it up. Here is all your pop bangers. Here's everything you're hoping for and expecting from me, The Weeknd. And then what happens? It keeps going. It slows down. It gets a little bit more intimate. It gets a little bit more personal. It keeps going. And for me, as a casual fan, I go, it's kind of running a little long. Oh, it doesn't really have any more banger. I mean, there's still great music. Don't get me wrong. I like this album as far as how it's going. I'm just talking in a general sense, right? So the casual fans mostly will probably wander off after half of the album or so. Which is why this album is so brilliant, because it's essentially 2 in 1. It's a Weeknd album for everybody, and then it's a very long, personal, intimate album for the hardcore fans. The fans that know every album from top to bottom. The fans that know every trilogy top to bottom. The fans that know, oh my God, did you hear what happened at SoFi Stadium? Did you hear? He had to cancel his show. What happened? He was 3 songs in and his voice just cut out. Like it was just gone. Was he sick? No, it just stopped out of nowhere apparently. What? That's crazy. The fans that know all the struggles, all the crap that he's been dealing with, the people that have been following him for 10 years, that's who this album is for. The entire album. Because in this album, he basically sits down with you guys and says, y'all, I've been worried about my voice, obviously. I've been worried about my career. I've been worried about my life. I've been worried about my soul. I'm still worried about my relationships. I'm still struggling with my vices. I still feel like I'm a prisoner in this penthouse. I've been going through it. I've been going through so much in such an entirety that it feels like my entire life is on this pivot point. And on top of that, there's this idea of, what if God literally took my voice to wake me up? What if I've been so far gone, so wrapped up in this thing that's been going on for a decade, that God had to take my voice to get me to wake the fuck up and realize I gotta stop. Like, I am right on the edge of the end type of a thing. That's what he's doing in this album. And that's why it's brilliant. And while it is true that me personally, and the thing is when I say this, you guys got to keep in mind, I don't listen to his albums in entirety. I'm a casual fan. It doesn't mean the albums are bad. His albums are great. I think they're great. I just never put them on all the way through. That's how I listen to his music. And so I've already seen the disparity of opinion on this album. And I mean, this happens with every album, basically, right? Some people think it's great. Some people think it's boring, whatever. That's every album, every week that always comes out. You always see the same back and forth. But I think the super fans need to realize the casual fans and what they're hearing. And the casual fans need to realize this album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, the entire album is for them. This is the Weeknd, essentially, I don't want to say wrapping up his career. I don't know if he's retiring. I don't want to say that he's retiring. I don't want to speculate. I said that about Kendrick Lamar at the end of Mr. Brown and the Big Steppers. Oh, yeah, he's done. He's retired. I was wrong about that. Instead, he has turned into the most angry, fire-breathing dragon I've ever seen in my life, right? So who knows what's going to happen with The Weeknd in his career. But in terms of wrapping things up, drawing it to a conclusion, I mean, it's brilliant in what he's done. The way he maintains his style and his sound while really getting down to some of the nitty-gritty that's been going on in his life, in his soul, in his person, in his heart. It's very well done. Very well done. And while it's true, yeah, I probably won't listen to it in its entirety. I'm going to keep listening to it. I mean, the front end's just got bangers after banger. And honestly, this morning when I gave it a second listen, I was enjoying it. Knowing that it slows down in the back half, I was able to enjoy it more and not have this expectation of, where's another banger going to be? And that's something else too. I'm kind of touching on how the album is structured, why I think it's so brilliant. There are other albums that I've listened to. There's longer albums where you can tell the artist has this vision, this journey that he wants all of us to go. Oh, I say they want all of us to go on, right? This is the beginning, and I want these listeners to experience this whole thing, but it's a long runtime, and so the artists know, if they're paying attention, if they're aware, well, I gotta keep them engaged somehow. So I'll spread out some of the hits. Maybe track 4 is a hit, and track 9 is a hit, and track 12, and try to spread out, try and keep them engaged. But that doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. You can't make people listen. So I love the fact that this album doesn't really try to do that. It feeds the casual first, the pop bangers and stuff like that, and then it just turns into this epic, essentially. I mean, it's 90 minutes long. That's a long runtime. But for the super fans, oh my God, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Okay, there you go. Hey, under 10 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. Apologize for the the fumbled reaction, but sometimes, like I say, sometimes you screw up in life and it turns out to be the best mistake you ever made. I don't think I would have seen this album the way that I see it now if I had understood. I would have slipped into a different mindset. Instead, approaching it as a casual listener, it made me understand there's 2 layers to this album. And that's why I think it's so great. Okay, take care, y'all. We'll see you soon.